Hello, Big Brother specialists are back to talk this episode of Big Brother.
Big Brother. Cedric wins the whole
Mhm.
game, probably, right?
I
What
mean,
an HOH he's doing this week.
he's doing a lot better than I thought he would during our cast assessment.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you underestimating the 21-year-old dude who was
No.
in the military? What the heck? Um, Interesting competition because we've seen it kind of before of like
Mhm.
go as fast as you can, and it's different size balance beams, but now this time they're all the same size balance beam, and it's just can you click buttons? And like whenever T Core went and got 9, I was like, I don't know how that's gonna get beat. That was so good. And she didn't even like explain it all the way of like if you hit the button twice.
Yeah. And then
If
Quinn just comes out and crushes it and is like, all right, so I'm going to wait by the 3 to get maximum points on the reset. And like
like
other
there's a
people were
button that
thinking
says
that
4. Like you're 2 points behind whenever you don't go to the 4 to do that. It's like, what are you doing, bro?
But so many people fell off too, like especially Mackenzie, who was acing the challenge. She had like 21 points and then fell and ruined everything.
And I think that's interesting from both Mackenzie and Quinn. Quinn, yeah. We have our 2 power winners that are going very hardcore for the HOH of like if I get this HOH, I can use my power next time and I'm probably gonna make it to jury. So like
Mhm.
that's great and that's all I really want to do because then I'm a part of everything on this season.
Right.
And I'm a big super fan. So being part of everything is exactly what I want. Tucker looks like he was going to do something and then he fell off and did like a hula dance for a bit, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And Sweet Kenny K gets second place.
So, no, I don't think he got second. He was close to it, but well, maybe he did get second without the falls and stuff like that.
So he's sweet Kenny coming for these
But
guys or
he's so
whatever.
sad now because he can't see his wife and kids in the photos.
So that was the Candyland, but it's Ainsley Land.
Land.
I'm like, good lord, this theming is awful this year. Of I think one thing about reality TV that I will say is like it's all about casting is
Mhm.
kind of like that's what sings and like I don't think I'll ever be like oh, Big Brother 15 is actually my favorite season because of the challenges. You're like, you can't say Big Brother 15 is your favorite because the cast was so weird. And
Yeah.
like, oh, I really liked Big Brother 12 because of the twist. No, it's like it's all comes down to casting. So right now the cast is doing pretty well. Like we have some highs and we have some lows. And like Lisa was a catalyst for
She left her glitter
bitchiness.
behind.
Yeah, like it was so funny of like, can we throw this away now? Like that's one of my favorite Angela lines so far of like and like we're just gonna be bouncing around. You've got notes, but like the
Yes.
fact that it was like Cedric's like, who should I put up? It seems like a foregone conclusion, but thank God that there's a third nominee this year because now it'll be a little weird. But as he's talking about Angela, she's like laying on the ground, like maybe doing some kind of physical therapy exercise or something. You're like, what is she doing? This is not even a bed or a couch. Like this is straight up
Mhm.
like just the floor, I think, in one of these bedrooms.
Yeah. I mean, what were your thoughts on Angela's speech of thank you for keeping me? This is
Oh
my
my
dream. And then
god.
the crickets.
So Paramount Plus has a button that is 10-second fast forward or 10-second go back.
Hmm.
I clicked the 10-second go forward twice during that because I cannot do it. Based on how my personality works or whatever it is, like I feel like empathetic or sympathetic or whatever it is, or but like cringe really affects me. Like,
I mean, I think Cedric said it where he was just like, well, you're just going to go next. So don't get your hopes too high here.
and like I think the one thing where I'm hoping to not ruin this for people at home, but like Cedric's getting a lot of confessionals before we go to the HOH. And like I look at spoilers to see who wins HOH because I really want to know. But like, why are we focusing on Cedric? It's like, guess what? Cedric's gonna win. Like,
Well, he also
we need
had the confessional right before the HOH being like, "Guess I gotta go and win." And
right.
I
Look
see
at this.
you.
This isn't foreshadowing. Like y'all know the answer. Like I don't know. I guess maybe it is foreshadowing, but like that's something where I think that's a detriment to the. That's another detriment to the HOH is apparently going to be on Sunday every episode, and like let's not pretend the Sunday episode is like it's not as dynamic when it's not live. And oh, did Tucker win the puzzle live meaning versus who wins this competition? Yes, maybe you can do something that's a little harder for an HOH because all of these people had 45 seconds to do this. 45 seconds times 14, just kidding, 13 people is more than a live show. But is this an HOH that we just no? This has to be an HOH. It's like one that's been over the last 3 weeks. It's an equitable comp. It's like I suck at balance beam, but a guy won, so you can't say all guys suck at balance beam. You're like, okay, well, guys over 235 pounds with a bad sense of gravity will never win this. Like, and I thought it was interesting. Like Brooklyn out of nowhere, like her first confessional that's memorable in a couple episodes is like, I'm gonna freaking kill this one. This one is mine, and then she's in the montage of like busting ass, and you're like, well, that was a weird. Why is that the confessional you guys choose to play for this?
Is the one you choose? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm thinking about this from like worker brain instead of fan brain, so maybe I should switch to fan brain a little bit. But I thought it was interesting. Of like, I think Chelsea and Cedric are actually like very close.
Cedric said that like, oh, we just won back-to-back HOHs, and that also maybe will put a target on Chelsea. Was worried about the comment, but like they are kind of in lockstep. We hear Chelsea say like, oh, Cedric won, I'm safe, and again, so
because it was just I think it's a very I obviously I'm not in the Big Brother house, but I doubt anybody is like this 21-year-old wants to say like we were at the lowest point possible after night one. We got last. We each got last in a competition. How did we already win one when it was against 14 other people and against 13 other people?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Or 12 and 11, whatever the hell. I always forget to take out the one thing. I think what's interesting is a lot of stuff is happening on live feeds over the last 24 hours. So we'll get to that at the end. We got some people maybe not spoiling in the comments, but like we're gonna get to that. What else?
The love connection we got going on here. We have Cam and Quinn both pining after Leah, but Leah really has eyes for Tucker, and Tucker really has eyes for the fish tank. So Leah,
what
really
a can like I think that's something where you're like, why is Tucker not into any of these girls? Blah blah blah. Like it's just something where it's so funny because we're so used to Showmance that even when a Showmance really isn't here, we have to have a whole segment about it anyway. And you're like. I think I'm literally dead air in the middle of this. So like the one thing that's so funny to me is like the pranks that Big Brother people play on Big Brother. Like James would always play pranks in his couple season. And it was like there would be prank segments of like he was hiding behind the door. Isn't that wacky? And you're just like, no, I don't give a shit about this. And like if there wasn't somebody doing pranks, like if you did a segment of like, man, I wish some people were playing more pranks, and like some producer in the back's poking them with a stick, like, don't you want to like hide behind there with some shaving cream and like throw it on somebody? It's like, no, like that's a hallmark of some seasons of Big Brother where it's like what I'm trying to express is why do we need a Showmance segment if there's not a Showmance? Like, is that literally we can't turn our brain off, or is it for the like, well, the Facebook crowd really wants some of these people to start kissing, and I'm gonna have to start asking everyone in their confessional about Showmance. I guess Chelsea's the only one with the fish tank line that will like play ball with us to give us a moment. Ha 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 ha. But like Tucker and Rubina, is this gonna happen? Or why not? Or what? It's just like something where you're like, why is this a segment? Is it because we don't really have a game being played right now? Because it is kind of, we got to get rid of Angela, we got to get rid of Kenny, we got to get rid of probably just them, and then we can actually start playing this game. And like, what's funny is if you've been watching over the weekend, it is kind of like, oh no, some of those people are starting to play, and this is really turning. But maybe we already made this Showmance segment on Wednesday, and now we got to use it now. And you're just like, I want to know what actually happened in the house. Like the nominees thing for Cedric kind of like was pretty basic. Of my target is Angela, which is crazy because Angela would never go after Cedric in a million years. And so you're like, are you planning on winning HOH at on week 5, Cedric, to take back over the power? Because if you're not planning on winning HOH for a while, you should probably do something else besides just put up Angela, in my humble opinion. Because Angela's not coming after you, and somebody else can waste that week. And if somebody else wastes that week, then you aren't going home when someone else wastes that week.
Blah, 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 blah. What are your thoughts on MJ being like, well, don't put me up because I'm just taking myself off? Like, would you want to get rid of the power in like, all right, I'll deal with MJ when I deal with MJ, like afterwards? Or like, how would you navigate that power? Because she's basically saying like, don't put me on the block.
I think what's funny is like Chelsea has the smoking gun of like Leah and Mackenzie were talking to me and saying like, I mean, we could put up Cedric, we could get him out. And like, why is Chelsea not literally being like, we should flush the power immediately? And like, I know America votes, and maybe that was the reason of like, we want to make this American veto for America's veto super strong, of like, you can't just flush it and hope it works because maybe one of your alliance people get put up. But like
with the AI comp, it doesn't matter.
With the AI comp, it doesn't matter. And so like, I think what's interesting is some of this gameplay is evolving a little bit because it has to, and some of this gameplay is not evolving because it just doesn't make sense. Of like, I don't like, he has to put up Mackenzie, and then by the end of this episode, he does not. And so it's like, well, if I put her up after a veto is won, maybe, then what happens? But then you're putting up a fourth person and a fifth person, and you're just like, good Lord, Cedric, you're like, I want to do stuff without having a lot of stuff happen, backfires in your face immediately. And then you're like, well, that didn't work.
Is there any truth to Kenny's words of all the girls are working together? And by all the girls, it's all the girls minus Angela, I think, and Brooklyn. It was like T-Core, Chelsea, Leah, and Mackenzie in all the shots that were shown while Kenny was saying all the girls are working together. But like Brooklyn wasn't in there, Angela wasn't in there. You know, what are your thoughts on all the girls working together? Is that a real thing?
I think what's interesting is we would have seen that of like, we see the Pentagon, we see the collective, we see somebody else putting the, like, there must not be 4 or 5 women putting their hands in a circle and going like this, or they would have showed us that.
Right.
And so I do think it's a very loose thing of, if Cedric puts up a bunch of dudes and one of the dudes goes home, that's pretty sick for us. And like, then maybe when we get to 11, it's time to solidify, or when it gets to 10, it's time to solidify, because the sooner we solidify, the bigger we put a target on ourselves. I think there's some feeds that I watched last night, so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit of like, it's just
We can go
can't
into feeds. That's
like,
pretty much the rest of the episode is just numb.
I mean, because like, well, let me finish the episode of like, Cedric is like, I'm putting up Angela. Kenny came to me. He's like, hey, we have the same job. We believe a lot, but I'm going to put you up anyway because then it gives you a shot. And he likes having a shot to win a veto, win an AI. And like, that's going to be his story of like, is he a mercenary or whatever? But like, Cedric and Kenny are getting closer and maybe they will have a separate alliance. So then I want this person to go up. That person says, no, I'm not doing that. Joseph very vehemently, I'm not going to be a pawn. Somebody else, I'm not going to be a pawn. Rubina does not want to do it. Brooklyn, I don't think he talks to Brooklyn specifically in the episode. I don't remember exactly. But it was like, everyone was like, I'm not going to be a pawn. I'm not going to be a pawn. And Cedric being like, oh my God, how? I thought this was going to be so easy. And then it's Tucker time. And I believe if you're a Tucker fan, like put your seatbelt on for 6 weeks. Because I do think he's probably going to be in the last half of this season. But like every single week, he's just going to be messing around. Because like his mindset is, I am bored. We've been doing this for 2.5 weeks. Nothing is happening. Just put me up. I'll try and win another one. Like that's what I'm having fun doing. Is just like Kenny, I want to either win a veto or I want to win an AI. And like let's do some stuff there with that. And I think that's going to be very frustrating for people or very easy for them to like, Tucker is a problem. We should backdoor him. And it's like, it's impossible to backdoor him because of the AI thing. So if you're a Big Brother watcher that has watched this for 25 years, they stop the twist at a very specific point. And it's usually final 10 or final 9. There won't be an AI arena, is what I'm assuming. And then he's toast. Like as soon as it's like, this is the first week without AI arena. If he doesn't win HOH, that if they don't tell them that ahead of time, sometimes they spring knowledge on. I believe the house will work together to eliminate Tucker the first time there's not an AI arena. And that'll be a really sad moment. And like, hopefully Tucker wins an HOH or gets his thing pulled to play in the veto. But like Tucker's enough on an island. Like I do think he's a very social player. Yeah. But if he's gonna win a veto or win an AI arena or win anything over the next couple weeks over and over again, people are gonna be like, we gotta get him out of here. And I don't think he was trying for HOH. So I think he maybe knows that and will be like, I want to win an HOH. So that's the episode. Spoilers now for feed stuff. Because I think right now, this is the first time where the feeds are outpacing the show. And this is where I would like, if you do want to know some stuff from the show, like start reading. Because it's really cool what's happening right now. Of people are figuring shit out. Of you have done none of this? Is this all new information to you? Gotcha. That is what we're doing. So I'm just going to talk a mile a minute here to get a bunch of information out. So the guys are like, is there a girls' alliance? And like, now there's like a counter guy thing of like, maybe these are the guys that are aimlessly waiting for stuff. I don't think it involves Joseph or Chemo, but it's pretty much every other dude of like, it wouldn't be that bad if a girl goes home. We need to get Mackenzie's power out. There's stuff going on with powers. The thing that I actually did watch last night was Cam and Leah talking. And Cam and Leah were like, Leah was like, there may be a guys alliance in here, but she didn't name anybody. And that got back around to Cam. And Cam was pissed because he's like, why are you saying this shit? And like, that puts me in hot water. And like their mutual understanding or flirtmance or whatever the hell it is getting pretty strained until they all share information. And that's kind of a surprise. Tucker wins veto. So there is going to be some movement on this block. Is it time to put up Mackenzie and get her power out? Cedric's been wondering about that. But what's really happening in here, sorry if you're a Quinn fan, but everyone has been like, we know Quinn has the other power probably because of process of elimination. Are we going to let him just have a free HOH next week? Or are we going to get his ass right now? And it's like all falling on Quinn of people being like, he's in your alliance? He's in your alliance? And I don't know how aware Quinn is of this, but it is kind of like, are you pro Quinn? This is a bad couple days for you because he went from the best place in the house to the worst because people are this afraid of powers or so anti-power that like if we put up McKinsey and backdoor Quinn, we get rid of both powers and we don't have to worry about it because both powers would get used in week 4 no matter
Mhm.
what. So we either 2 powers happen next week or 0 powers happen next week. It won't be one or
Yeah.
the other if we do this with getting Quinn out. And so that's like an info dump, but like there's a lot of moving pieces. And that's where, if that's interesting to you, start reading. I like to use Big Brother Reddit and go look at like what the live feeds are happening now. I think there's aggregate sites to whatever. Like, I think it's worth it. Tucker is chaos, whatever, because he won veto. But guess what? He's planning on using it on Angela because if he uses it on Angela, he could still win the AI thing because he wants to go against Quinn in the AI competition to guarantee that
Quinn doesn't win it.
Quinn is on the block when this is over. Because Quinn versus Kenny or Tucker versus Quinn will still vote out Quinn, but Quinn versus Angela is a little bit more like, why would you keep Angela? So is Tucker currently right now showing a veto on the block and putting it on Angela? And Angela will probably be like, this is my treat. Like, we get a whole nother one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And like, whatever. And so I think that's where I'm talking about. It's kind of cool. The game evolution. If they're going to let Tucker stay on the block after putting the veto on someone else, that would be the first time that happens ever for sure. And like, but he feels confident in doing that because he feels confident.
Just like, right, it was Marcellus that did that.
Yeah, and there's, I think maybe Dick used it on. I am lying. I think Dick used it on Danielle maybe, and then still stuck around because of the votes that America got to choose with Eric. Like, I think that's the only one maybe against Dustin that happened like that. But I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time. But I think him putting the veto on somebody else, it would be the first time where it's like, oh shit, what? Or, oh wow. Yes, Chemo has a crush on Tucker, and that's why Chemo is telling Tucker all the info. You got to put 2 gay guys in this show so they don't pine after straight guys the whole time and ruin their game. I think what's funny about what we're talking about though is it still feels like, and then there's 5 people just in the middle doing nothing, and like the 5 people in the middle doing nothing are about to be in the final 9 because they don't have any problems, but they're not really leading anything either.
Yeah.
So I think someone said something where I'm like, damn, maybe where like, oh, is this going to be another season where the first month is the good month and then we have like the second month is so boring and then someone finally wins? And like that's kind of how Big Brother's been trending of like, oh, there's big fights when there's a bunch of us, there's some crazy back doors, and then something gets established and like someone like Jag goes on like a crazy run of HOHs and vetoes back to back, and then it's like, well, too bad, so sad. But like, I don't know if anybody could do that in this house. And there's just a few people that are like, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, and you're like, how much waiting is there left to do?
Yeah.
It's time to win an HOH and do this. But like, it's interesting. Does Quinn know he has a shot of going up? I don't know if that's getting leaked to him.
I hope this whole plan actually follows through.
Because what I was hinting at before we talked about stuff is like, Cedric, is he going to push the gas pedal now? Because everyone would be like thankful for that. But like, if he doesn't push the gas pedal, then everyone can say this was the plan, Quinn, and Cedric was down to do it and then didn't do it. And then it's like, Are you more like, thank you, Quinn, for not, or are you like,
Thank you, Cedric, for not.
thank you, Cedric, for not doing that? Or are you like, you've been talking about my demise for 2 days, like I'm gonna put you up anyway?
Right.
Because, and like, poor whoever did the deep fake HOH graphics for 5 days and got it approved and did whatever before the season, because I don't know if that'll get used next week. But like,
Hey, they got paid.
They got paid, but they want to see their work on the show. They're gonna be like, Mom, it's gonna be in the first month. I'll send you a YouTube of it, and like they want to win a graphic design award, and they're not gonna do it with Ainsley, so it's gonna be the deep fake, like Ainsley morphing into the.
Oh God, please let's not revisit this.
And be like, I'm gonna nominate, and like the voice changer part of it, I'm sure was gonna happen, but I think this is a good couple days for Mackenzie, because her being, I'm gonna do this if you do, like, she's gonna get a green light to win an HOH and go after some people, which like we are kind of like waiting at it. It's like before Mario Kart starts, there's lights, and now it's green. Like now we can full on have the war over the next couple weeks of, well, you were talking shit, you actually did put me up, I said if you put me up and flush my power, I will go after you. That's just gonna happen. And then like she's gonna come after Cedric. Cedric's group will be like, yikes, or does Cedric go, or like then there's gonna be some like, I gotta win HOH or I gotta win veto, and like this will be something. And then if there's like the Big Brother group, like I think what's funny is there was the power. I like doing Big Brother 20 as a baseline because we had the power apps for the first 4 weeks.
Yep.
And then what else happened? Like the next thing was the hacker. So like there's like something that could ruin all this fun gameplay is like, oh, and the AI competition is done after the first 4 weeks, but now there's like a real veto and an AI veto, and each veto competition will have 2 ways to win, but one of the vetoes is fake or something. I'd be like, oh shit, like I just came up with that in 5 seconds, but like I feel like that's like something that could happen to like
choose which veto comp to participate in. One is fake,
and like one of the veto comps is way harder than the other one, so like 5 people do the hard one because they're like, no way this wouldn't be the fake veto, and somebody's like, well, I'll do the dumb one, and like it's like that's the one that was, or why am I speculating for something?
If we predict this, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm officially on. Chelsea is going to be way better than I thought she was, so my bad for putting
she's
her
already doing great.
Yeah,
compared to where you put her.
I think she's very level-headed and very like, you're not going to pull one over on her or catch her off guard. I do think what sucks is Brooklyn is probably playing a top 3 game, and we do not hear anything from her ever.
We don't hear from Brooklyn, Rabina, Chemo, Joseph.
Right. And like I think those are 4 of the 5. I'll put T-Core in there as well. Of those are the 5 people that are playing well enough to never be in trouble. But whenever we do see them in month 2, I'm just gonna know nothing about them or their games. Where like I almost hope Big Brother would do some BS like this, where it's like a flashback of like, this is why this person's so like established like. Not that we've been keeping this from you, but it hasn't been relevant. But like, I don't know if I'd ever do that.
Well, anything else, Blake?
Let's refresh the Wikipedia one more time to see if Tucker. Okay, no.
Well,
so Tucker won
next week.
So here's what we think's gonna happen. Tucker puts the veto on Angela, saving Angela. Angela's making him to week 4. Her dream goes for at least a month, and then it's time for Quinn to make a move. I think Quinn should be Cedric. It's time for Cedric to make a move. I think Quinn will be on the block.
Yeah.
And
Let's
then that'll
make it
be
happen.
really cool. Of like, then the Thursday night AI competition is Tucker versus Quinn versus Kenny. Of we need to beat him and get him up and out. And then Quinn has a moment where if I get through this next 2-minute challenge, I can reestablish my whole game with my power next week. And like I think either one of those options, we either get a really cool boot out of like, damn, that's a good gameplay, or we get
Revenge tour.
like revenge tour and like, oh no, Kenny goes home. And like this would be the coolest week to oh no, Kenny goes home.
Mm-hmm.
And like that sucks, Cedric, that like you were trying to get on Kenny's good side and like building an alliance, and then it just didn't work or whatever.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, tune in on Thursday right after the live eviction for our takes on the veto comp and the eviction and AI arena, all that jazz. So see ya then.